Hey, I'm Sven Masterson, one of the co-founders and principal mentors on Mentoring Men, which is a community, a private men's community, dedicated to the health and well-being and betterment of men. And one of the things we do on Mentoring Men is we help men through extremely difficult circumstances in their life, most of which seem to in some way, shape, or form happen because of relationship trouble. Relationships like marriage, relationships like fatherhood, sometimes business relationships, and others. And in this video, what I want to talk to you about is a principle that can be present in these moments and a metaphor to kind of go along with that. And the principle I want to talk to you about in this video is the idea that sometimes things are not as they seem, and we may be under the impression that we have a need or a dependency on the other person in that relationship that proves to be false. Now, I want to give you a little bit of background story into my life. I'm 48 years old. I got married at 20, children at 22. I have 6 children now, 3 of which are adults, 3 of which are still at home. And in that time I've been a married father, I have really appreciated tools. I've been a DIY kind of a handy person most of my life, because I didn't grow up in a house where my dad was very handy. And much like it happens with people, we oftentimes kind of find our way to being a good bit different than our parents were. And so my dad's a great man. He's capable, but he just wasn't a person that was very handy. And as a result, it never felt like we had the best tools around either. Oftentimes, just kind of like cheap economy tools. They're often broken. I got blamed for misplacing them all the time because I would take them out in the woods and build forts and whatnot. And so early on, I had a fascination from childhood with tools and construction and things like that. And so a tool that's been in my toolbox since I was a young man, when I started to acquire as many tools as I could when I was out on my own, is a combination square. Now, if you've probably seen these a number of times, they have a level and a way to do a little bit of measuring and to check something for square. And what I most often use it for is marking lumber where I need to cut. So I'll measure with a tape measure, place this across a 2x, pencil in the mark, and go about my business. Now, I'm not the cleanest worker in the world, you might say, when I'm working. And so part of my frustration with how I go about this kind of work is I'm constantly misplacing my pencil. And because I constantly misplace my pencil while I'm working, when I go to use this tool, I often don't have what I need. And so even though I'm ready to mark the lumber, because I can't find my pencil, I get stalled. And I've kind of thought to myself, man, if I had every minute I have spent in my life chasing down carpenter pencils that I left in some other place in the job, I would probably have a lot of time back to myself. And I've burnt a lot of time and inefficiency trying to chase pencils. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up on a channel about men and a channel about relationships and whatnot is because this is a great metaphor for relationships. In my metaphor here, I want you to think of myself as this combination square and my wife as the pencil. And for much of my marriage, I lived as though I couldn't effectively use this if I didn't have access and constantly, if I wasn't constantly able to find and make use of this, right? This showed up in all kinds of ways. But I would always feel like kind of stalled or unable to do what I needed to do without making sure I knew where the pencil was, making sure we were kind of together. And this became really quite a burden because I spent a lot of time trying to harmonize both of these things, being in the same place at the same time, focused on the same thing. And this is actually a pattern that undermines relationships in the long run, believe it or not. Well, just like my marriage of nearly 30 years, my relationship with this combination square for 30 years has overlooked something really pretty critical and important. It was only about a year ago that I realized that this tool has always had, right here, can you see that? a scribe built in. Turns out I never needed the pencil to do the marking. I always had what I needed right there to use the combination square by itself for what it's intended to do. All along, right under my nose, this thing was sitting there. And so all that time I spent chasing a pencil, feeling like I couldn't effectively do what I wanted to do without that pencil, was completely for nothing. I had it all along. I had everything I needed. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we meet men in relationship, they're living very much in this dependency kind of relationship where a man says, I can't be me if you won't be you. And so if you wander off, oh, I'm just a combination square with no way to be effective in the world because I'm just half. It's this view that men carry around that says I'm incomplete without her, without the carpenter pencil. And so men feel stuck, especially if a woman who they're in a relationship with comes up and says, hey, I need space. I want a separation. I want a divorce. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I'm having an affair. Oh, that's a terrible one. I need to find myself. I could care less if we ever have sex again. I don't see myself ever wanting to have sex with you again. All these terrible things that happen in a man's life feel to him like this pencil is just going away and he has no way to be functional by himself. And yet what we show men every day in our community and in our mentoring program is that they always had what they needed. They didn't know it, just like I didn't know for 30 years that this little scribe was in there. A man has everything he needs within himself. It's always been true. From the time this came off the shelf, it had this there. And it was always right there under my nose. And so what we do is we help men discover the equivalent of this scribe that has been part of them that they didn't know about. And what that frees them to do is to find out, wait a minute, I am whole. I'm whole. I don't need a partner or a woman to be me. In fact, it's best if I live authentically as me. And so we teach men to kind of learn how to just be the combination square without the carpenter pencil for a while. And that's not the long-term goal. We're not anti-women. We're not anti-carpenter pencil. We want a man to understand the fabric of himself, the substance that is there, to learn how to be okay by himself, to learn that he has got everything he needs for a life of happiness, fulfillment, and contentment. It's not found in other people. It's not found in a partner. It's not found in another tool. It's found in understanding yourself and the depth of all that that has to offer. Now, just like I love this tool, and though there's a scribe there, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest here. I like pencils better. And so for the most part, when I'm working, even though I know this is there, I'll grab a carpenter pencil. And that's not an act of, betraying the combination square, because I know, hey, I always have what I need here, but life is a little bit better with a pencil. I like a pencil mark instead of a scribing mark. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But I also appreciate the pencil in a way that maybe I didn't before, because I have the ability to use this. I know what I'm capable of. I know I'm whole and complete, but I also appreciate the complement that the pencil is to the combination square. And so when we work with men, that's what we seek to take them through this process where they actually grow in appreciation and admiration, in warmth, in cooperation, but while hanging on fiercely to their self and to their wholeness. And that is how you actually move as a man into a better place in the relationship, where you are firmly centered and grounded as a man, that you know yourself, you know you have everything that you need, and you still, from that place of not needing wholeness in other people, you choose to be with them because they're the bee's knees. You appreciate them, you love being with them, and you love the way they mark a 2x4. And so I just want to share that with you today. Maybe you didn't know, like I didn't, that the combination square has this thing in it. Maybe that's part of not reading directions, which is kind of a man thing. It's kind of a this man thing. But take it for what it is. If I've created any curiosity in you today and listening to this video about what we do, what we offer men in challenging relationship circumstances, I invite you to scroll down. You'll see a link where you can request a free session with myself or one of the other mentors on Mentoring Men. And we would love to talk to you about these things. We want to hear, how are you feeling about this dynamic? Is this frustrating you? Do you feel like your pencil's not around when you need it? Are you experiencing that resentment and contempt and anger that you feel like a combination square that can't be used because the pencil is missing? If you feel that way, we love talking to men like you, and we do that in 60 to 90-minute sessions that are absolutely complimentary. There's no sales pitch. We're just going to talk to you about your life. And then if you like what we do, you like what we have to offer, we'll put the links right down below there too. So there's no guesswork, right? We offer 3 ways that we help men. I'll outline them all below. And then you can just go into a session like that completely knowing what to expect, and that we're not going to sell you on anything because you're already going to know what we offer, what we do. How about that? Worst marketing funnel in the world, but we're not about marketing funnels. We're about the hearts and minds of men and restoring men to themselves and their relationships, and hopefully making the world a better place in the process. With that, I wish you a good day. Thanks for putting up with my clumsy speech and my weird examples. I'll talk to you in another video. Take care.